Hi guys, it's Shell and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking all things Goosebumps and reviewing the first book in the original Goosebumps series. Welcome to Deadhouse. So growing up, the Goosebumps books that I remember over all others are Be Careful What You Wish For, Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns, Calling All Creeps, and I Live in Your Basement. I think out of those, the ones that I read the most, Be Careful What You Wish For and Calling All Creeps. I remember absolutely loving the covers for these two. They were definitely my favourites. I remember watching the TV show a lot growing up. The episode which stands out in my mind, not for being a favourite, but it was an episode that was constantly on TV, and every time I click onto, I think it was Nickelodeon, it would always be on, and I'd always remember thinking, not this episode again, I've seen this a million times. And it was The Blob That Ate Everything. But I remember that one sticking out in my mind just because it was always on. My favourite episode of the TV show was One Day at Horrorland, and it's one where a family go to an amusement park that they assume it's just kind of horror based, it's spooky, it's got people who dress up as monsters, but it is actually run by monsters. And that was a two-part episode from memory, I think. That was definitely my favourite, and I loved it so much that I actually had the One Day at Horrorland board game. I think it was called One Day at Horrorland and not Welcome to Horrorland. But anyway, I had the board game and I would set it up in my bedroom just on my own. I had no idea how to play it. The instructions were way too confusing for me at the time. And I just remember being really impressed with how it looked, and every time I asked somebody to play it with me, they either looked at it and thought it looked really scary and they didn't like it, or we were both just sat there confused. So we just used to move the pieces along the board and not actually play it properly. But I remember having that and loving it. So whilst the Goosebumps TV show was running, there was also another American horror type kids show called Are You Afraid of the Dark, which for us over here in the UK, that was on ITV, and that used to scare the absolute crap out of me. I tried so many times to watch it, and it was just, compared to the Goosebumps TV show, for me, it was so much scarier. I always really wanted to be able to watch it, but it was just, I just couldn't. So book one in the Goosebumps series is Welcome to Deadhouse. I picked up this copy online, I think it was eBay, for about $3.99. It's obviously not in the best condition. The pages are yellowed, the cover has faded a bit, but overall it's in pretty good condition. So this was actually owned by a young boy called Joe Knight, which I thought was quite cool, seeing that when I first opened it. So I'm planning to try and find all of these as used copies, super cheap. I'm not really bothered about getting them brand new, to be honest. I picked up the first one, I've read it, and I really had fun with this. So it's super gross, really gross compared to any of the other books in this series that I've read. I really love a story which is set in or around a haunted house, and this is about a family called, completely forgotten the name. Doesn't actually say.
The book beat me.
This is about Amanda and Josh, who are brother and sister, and their parents, who receive a letter out of the blue letting them know that their long lost uncle, who they have never heard of, has passed away and left them a huge house in the town of Dark Falls. So they pack up their things, they head to Dark Falls, check out the house. The town is super creepy, it's really dark. The whole town is covered in huge trees which cast shadows everywhere, and they get a creepy vibe from this place, but nonetheless they're getting this house for free, so they think, why the hell not, we're going to move in. So whilst they're living in Dark Falls, Amanda and Josh make friends with these really weird kids. Everyone in the town tries their hardest to avoid the sunshine, and there's definitely something up with the town of Dark Falls. So it turns out that there was a chemical leak from a factory in Dark Falls, and this chemical leak killed everybody in the town. So everybody in the town is dead, and they use an estate agent called Mr. Dawes, who essentially uses this house to lure people to the town. So families will come and view the house after receiving the letter to say that it is now theirs, and he shows them round, he tries to get them to stay in the town, and then the dead residents of the town will essentially, well, they'll either eat the residents, the newcomers, or they will suck the life out of them. You never really find out what the dead residents are actually planning to do with this family, to basically use their life force to survive. So, as I said, this is super gross. There's a scene where Amanda and Josh are in the cemetery, and they have just found out that one of their friends is dead, one of the living dead, and they shine a torch, like a halogen torch, on this kid, and basically his face starts to melt off, his eyeballs roll out of the sockets, he becomes a skeleton, and the skeleton falls and the skull hits a tombstone and cracks. And it's just, I'm not even doing that scene justice because it is the grossest thing. And there's also a dream sequence where Amanda dreams that her and her family are dead, and they're all skeletons sat round the dining room table eating human bones. Honestly, completely shocked me how gross this was. So I am going to give this 4 out of 5 skulls. Really fun, a lot more gross than what I was expecting. Love the cover, really love this cover. I definitely would suggest picking this one up because I think you'll be surprised at how full on it is, especially considering the target audience. So I've decided for each of the books I read, I'm also going to be watching the TV show. I have to say I was really disappointed with the episode for Welcome to Deadhouse. It definitely wasn't as scary as the book. It was much more watered down, which I get. I think with horror, when it's in the form of a TV show or a movie for, you know, young adults, teenagers, kids, whatever, it's going to be more watered down. I loved seeing the intro for the TV show again after so many years. Absolutely just obsessed with it at the moment. Like, I have it constantly in my head, which isn't a bad thing. I did really like the actor that they chose to play Josh, who was the one of the main characters. He was the brother in it, and the little kid who played him really got him spot on, because as a character he's really stubborn and he's really whiny, and he's just a typical stroppy young kid. So I was really happy with the casting of that. They introduced something really random to the episode, which was the mother in the family. She basically has this family heirloom, which is a wreath, which is framed, and she puts it up in the home, and all of the dead residents of Dark Falls are really scared of this wreath because it's essentially an item which is protecting the family from them. And that wasn't in the book at all. It was a bit random. I have no idea why they added that, but that was a huge thing in the episode. Obviously, it was super cheesy. That didn't bother me at all. I was just generally annoyed that compared to the book, the episode just wasn't gross at all. It wasn't scary. It was just okay. So I've ended up giving the TV show 2 out of 5 skulls. So I've actually taken a look at the American covers for the books, and I definitely do prefer those. I think they're so much cooler than our versions, because with the UK editions, a lot of them are just kind of a colourful, like gooey, gloopy background, and then in the middle it will have like a circular picture of a character or a monster or something, and they're all kind of the same. But with the American versions, they're proper full-on illustrations. I will insert some here just to give you an idea of what they look like, but I think they are so much nicer than our editions. As well as reading the books and watching the TV show, I'm also listening to a really good podcast about Goosebumps. It's called Welcome to Deadcast, and it's hosted by 2 hilarious American guys who are twins, and they're absolutely obsessed with Goosebumps. They grew up with them over in America, and they do really good in-depth reviews of the books and the TV episodes. So definitely do check that out if you're into Goosebumps. I definitely won't be doing as in-depth reviews as those guys, because they will literally go through every single chapter of every book, so they will work their way through each book. If you guys want to hear my ramblings about the rest of the series, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Please do let me know the Goosebumps books that you remember reading as a kid. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys picked up when you were younger. What your favourite books are, what your favourite episodes are, what you didn't like about Goosebumps. Just tell me all the things in the comments below, and I will chat to you guys soon. Bye!